So you're eating the protein, lifting the weights, and your sleep hygiene is pro level, even though 5 minutes ago you didn't even know what sleep hygiene was. You've worked really hard to feel like yourself again, and now the holidays are rolling in like an SUV full of your college girlfriends blasting 90s rap. With all the parties, cocktails, and your mother in law's famous pie you don't even like, the question is, can we stay true to our healthy habits and still have fun during the holidays? Today, I'm talking with Jacquelyn Reale, the vibrant natural chef behind Marin Mama Cooks, about exactly that. She shares some key mindset shifts we should all adopt, simple tips for how to stay on track with healthy eating, and some of her super tasty and easy to make side dishes that bring color and vibrancy to any holiday table. You're going to walk away from this episode so ready to take the holidays head on. Let's do this. Hello, my friend. You are in the right place. This is where smart and sassy women over 40 come to figure out all things midlife. We talk hormones, careers, relationships, and everything in between. I'm Jessica Long, health coach and fellow midlife woman on this wild ride with you. Stick around for honest conversations with experts, rebels, and wise women rewriting midlife on their own terms. Let's dive in. Jackie, you emanate health, vibrancy, creativity, positivity. So you are the perfect person to talk to today about how we can stay true to our healthy habits and lifestyle while still having some fun during the holidays. So thanks so much for coming on the show today.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited. This is my second podcast, believe it or not. And so, yeah, I'm excited and a little bit nervous, but it'll be fun.
We get to talk about all the fun stuff. So it's just going to be a fun conversation with friends.
Yeah.
So I am going to start with the big question, though, which is, okay, our listeners are midlife women. A lot of us are putting so much time and energy that it feels like a second job into eating enough protein and fiber and exercising. Maybe we're strength training now. We have sleep hygiene now. We didn't even know what sleep hygiene was 2 years ago. And so we want to keep this going. We've made a lot of progress. We don't want to totally drop the ball, but we want to have fun during the holidays. So I want to know from you, the pinnacle of health, wellness, happiness during midlife. What are your tips or what's your advice for us for how to stay true to our healthy values while still having fun during the holidays?
I think what I tend to do during the holidays is I've learned over the years to say no to things. So I say no to the things that don't excite me, and I say yes to the things that do. And I stay true to myself during the holidays. I don't go like, okay, I'm going to eat sugar because it's the holidays. I'm going to drink tons of alcohol. I'm going to eat gluten and all that stuff because everyone else is. Because you know what? It doesn't make me feel good. So a lot of times during the holidays is I still have fun. If I want to have cake, I'm going to eat the cake, but I'm going to eat the cake with joy. And I'm going to really take that into my body with joy instead of looking at it and fearing the cake. Because when you look at food and you fear it, then your body takes that in and it doesn't digest it well and it creates stress. So I believe in the 80-20 rule. Like, you know what? I'm going to have a glass of wine if I want it. If I don't want it, I'm not going to feel bad about it. I let that whole guilt thing go and I still stay true to myself. I make sure I'm getting the adequate sleep. That makes me feel good. I'm eating the foods that energize me. I'm doing movement during the day. I'm doing all those things just because it's the holidays. I don't feel like that gives me an excuse to self-sabotage myself on all those healthy habits that I've created the rest of the year.
That's such a good point. I'm thinking about what you're saying, and I've always kind of doubled down on movement. Movement was always my number one health habit throughout the years. And I always kind of doubled down on it during the holidays because it makes me feel good. And holidays are a feel good time. So I want to feel good. And to your point, I want to say yes to the things I want to say yes to without feeling guilty. But what about those times when, you walk into the party and they offer you the glass of champagne that you don't really want, or your mother-in-law brings her famous dish and expects you to eat it and you don't want to? What do you do?
So that's taken me years to get good at. I used to have this guilt thing, especially when I was in corporate America. We would go to events and you always had to have a glass of wine in hand. But now I feel like it's easier because there's so many women in midlife who are saying no to alcohol. So I'll just say, no, thank you. I'm not drinking it. But if I want the drink, I'll have it. But if I don't, I'll have sparkling water with lime, or a lot of places are doing mocktails now. And as far as my mother-in-law goes, that took time to actually say no to her pecan pie and all her gluten type stuff. I just say it doesn't work for me and I don't feel good. So I guess I've just learned to say it in a loving way. Like, those foods don't make me feel good. And no one asks me anymore. It's funny is no one expects me to eat the sugar cake. If I decide to have a piece, they're like, cool. But I think we think people are going to judge us more than they're actually going to judge us. And they don't really care.
I guess that's true. And we worry about other people being comfortable. Like I remember for so long taking the glass of wine because it made other people uncomfortable when I didn't have a glass of wine in my hand. I specifically remember one of the first times I did 30 days of no alcohol. And I think it was during January. It was during football season. I'm a big football fan and I was out with a bunch of friends and they were all drinking beer. And this one guy, a friend of mine, was so uncomfortable with the fact that I wasn't drinking. And I was like, why do you even care? What difference does it make? But as women, we are concerned about the group, the dynamics of the group, everyone else feeling comfortable. And I think that drives so many of our decisions for so long until we hit this point where we say, I'm just not going to base my own personal decisions on how you feel anymore.
Yeah, I was at this event the other night and this woman's like, oh, I guess having a glass of wine, you never do that. And I go, actually, I do, but I don't care if you have wine. Like, I'm not judging you for having the wine and don't judge me for not having the wine. You know what I mean? Like, I really don't care. I think there's also this thing that I also get nervous when I go out in public and someone sees me and they think I'm this health guru and I'm about balance. So if I am eating my fries, which I love, and I'm having dessert or I'm having wine and I don't want to be judged if, oh my God, Marin Mama's not, abiding by her rules of like eating super clean all the time because you know what? We have to have fun in this life. We only are on this journey once. And I just believe it. Do it all in moderation and do it with joy when you're going to do it instead of putting up the guilt and the shame because that just keeps us in that spiral.
Do you ever still feel guilty if you splurge on something?
Sometimes, but I don't really go crazy anymore. I don't know what it is. Maybe when I hit menopause or something, I just stopped working in corporate America and kind of like, I don't feel the shame around stuff because I don't overindulge. If I'm going to have something sweet, I'll have a couple bites of it and I'm good. Or if I have wine, I can only handle one glass, to be honest with you. I can't do more than that. My body is like, no.
I'm with you there. So yeah, it's a good point. Like the indulgence kind of used to be an overindulgence in our 20s, maybe even our 30s. But at least with me, it sounds like with you too, my body's putting a halt on that. And it's like, look, girl, maybe one glass, but you're already not going to sleep tonight. So I would advise you not to have more. It just becomes so much easier to say no. But for people out there who are still dealing with the guilt, like if they have the piece of cake, or, you know what I hear a lot is that mindset. It's like, well, I didn't have a good breakfast, so the whole rest of the day is shot. What do you tell that person?
First of all, like I said, you gotta let the guilt go. And I think you can go on a death spiral if you're like, well, I ate bad, so I'm going to continue to eat bad. Like people will be like, it's the holidays. I'm just going to binge on whatever I want. And then they're going to go into January and they're going to set their intentions, but they're going to be behind the curveball. It's going to be even harder to set those goals. So I just think it's never too late. So if you had a bad breakfast, then it's up to you. How do you want to feel? I think is the thing. Take a step back and be like, all right, I had a bad breakfast. That means that I have to have a bad lunch. So it comes to your mindset. And if you don't start your day well, you can end your day well. You can make change at any point in time is what I believe, but it has to come from you. It has to be something that you want to do. And, or you can have a day like sometimes on the weekend I let loose and I'm just like, I'm not going to worry about, we're going to go out and eat. We're going to have fun. And that's okay. It's not like Monday through Friday, I'm this way. We have to loosen up with life too, but not be so hard on ourselves because the more we do that, the more stress it puts on us, the more it just puts us in that spiral and it's not doing anyone any good.
Totally true. There's no point in self-flagellation, right? Like
Exactly.
I'm speaking from experience because I historically have been someone who's done that for so long after I kind of go off track with really anything, not necessarily just food, but like how I want to act or how I want to parent. And that doesn't make me feel good. It doesn't model what kind of behavior I'd like to see from my kids. So it's just no bueno all around. We were talking about parties before, and I was just wondering if you are going to a party and you kind of know there's going to be all kinds of alcohol and food there and maybe social pressures or whatever, is there anything you do in advance of attending that makes you feel just a little more solid in your own choices when you get there?
Totally. So I always have a healthy small meal or snack that's blood sugar friendly before I go to a party because, first of all, I don't know what they're going to have. If you go to a lot of these big events, they usually have food that you don't want to eat. I just went to one on Sunday and I'm so glad I ate something before because there was nothing there. And I'm pretty open. I was like, nothing there I actually wanted to put in my body. So I will have something that's balanced, blood sugar friendly. It's like the protein, fat, and fiber, having a balance of that. So then if I'm at the party and there's nothing I want, I'm okay. And if I decide that I'm going to eat more at that party because there is good stuff, then I go for it. No, or if I want a glass of wine, I'll have it, but I'm not too rigid. I make sure I set myself up. So if there isn't anything there, then I'm going to be okay.
So I'm hearing set yourself up for success, 80-20 rule, balance, release the guilt. Those are kind of the top tips that are coming through. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, I think in midlife, we just got to let it go. You know what I mean? Like one thing I've learned, I think maybe I wish I could have learned it younger, is not to care so much what everyone else thinks or because no one cares. Everyone's in their own head with their own stories. So you're thinking like everyone's judging me. No one's judging you. They're judging themselves. So let's just let it all go. Let's stop judging each other and let's stop judging ourselves and we're going to have more fun. So
It's such a good point. I think back to the story I was telling about that friend of mine who was really uncomfortable that I wasn't drinking, but really it was about him and his judgments about himself and his discomfort with his own choice. And what made him comfortable was that everybody else around him was making the same choice. But even just one person wasn't, it made him sort of question his own choices he was making.
the hardest thing when I gave up alcohol for me, because I used to be a server, was going to a restaurant. Because when you're a server, you're looking at that total buildup and you're just like, okay, they're going to order wine, they're going to order this. And it just, you have a higher bill. So I used to feel so bad being like, no, I'm just going to have water. And now I don't care. But that was the hardest thing for me. I was worried about what that server was going to think. They're going to be like, this is a lame table. Let's get them out of here. Because I'm a good tipper. I was in the industry. But I used to love the tables that ordered the wine and the alcohol. And so that was my hardest thing was, what's the server going to think of me? So
Oh my gosh. I mean, I have to say that thought has crossed my mind too. So wait a minute. Was that the beginning of your experience in the food world, was being a server? How did you get into being Marin Mama Cooks and starting this brand?
I was a stay-at-home mom, and I was, raising my daughter and my son, and they were in school, and I was learning how to cook. I didn't really cook before, so I had to learn how to cook, and then people would be like, "Oh my God, I love that dinner. What did you make?" So I started sharing with friends, and then one day I was like, I need a side hustle, not even a hustle, just a hobby. So I created, I looked up, and I'm like, what would the name of my blog be? Blogs were like the new thing. This was like 2008, and I looked at Mount Tam and Marin. I'm like, oh, Marin. I'm a mom. I cook. Marin Mama Cooks. That's how it came out. And my daughter actually hated the name. She's like, Mom, that makes you sound like Aunt Jemima or something. That's not a cool name. And I'm like, no, I'm going to stick with it. So I started it. And honestly, my photography sucked. It was so bad. It's hilarious, but I just started sharing recipes with friends, and then people started following me, passing me on, word of mouth, and then it became a bigger entity, and I just had a passion for it. I was learning how to photograph. I was learning how to write. I was told I was never a writer growing up, and I was like, I can write now, and I had a lot of grammatical errors that people would tell me on, like with your and you are and all this stuff, but I just really got into food, and then I had friends that were dealing with health issues. And I was like, I really want to learn how to cook with I didn't want to go to the Culinary Institute, but I wanted to learn how to cook with real foods that could heal and learn how to work with alternative flours and stuff. And so when I went to natural chef school, that's kind of where I really got the passion for cooking beyond just everyday food and creating food that gives you vitality and food for people who can't have gluten and sugar and they can't have dairy, but they want to have joy in food again. And that's what I love doing now is creating recipes that I love for me, midlife, and foods that are going to give me longevity and that are with real whole food ingredients. So it's been a long journey, but I love where it's evolving because I'm evolving with it. I'm not producing for the masses. I'm producing for a niche of people who are looking for certain kind of recipes.
Well, I fall right into that niche because I love your recipes. I've tried so many of them. They're all really flavorful, really colorful. So they're appealing to look at, to eat. And they use healthy whole food ingredients. So my favorite is the Asian chicken salad, but I think I've also you have a pad thai, like a tofu pad thai, you have turkey burgers. There's a bunch that I've made, but that's the Asian chicken salad comes up on repeat in this house. It's just that dressing is so good. So I wanted you to come on and share some holiday dishes that you like to make. And when you and I chatted before, you said, "Well, I'm more of a side dish girl," and I said, "Me too." I don't even care about the mains. I don't even want turkey on Thanksgiving. I want all the sides. So we agreed that you would share some sides with us. So I'd love to hear some of your favorite holiday side dishes, why they're your favorite, and what makes them healthy. Like, are there specific swaps that you do? So let us have it.
Yeah, so I think for me, the side dishes are a way to add color to the tables because if you think about the holidays, it's the meat, the potatoes, I don't know what people make, the breads, like the popovers, stuffing. And I've always been a non-traditional person when it comes to the holidays, but again, my in-laws come and it's got that kind of food. So I'm like, let me be the side girl. So I love big salads. Everyone loves a salad, even kids. So I have a vegan kale salad that has pomegranates in it, apples, and it's a sweet lemon maple dressing. That salad's a hit because you massage the kale. It's got that purple kale in it. It's got the green kale and it's got all the colors. So kids like it. And it's got this vegan dressing, but it has a little bit of hint of sweetness. So kids love that. So that looks beautiful on the table as well. Kale Brussels sprout salad is so good and it has toasted almonds. It's amazing. That's always gone. And then the other one I love is I either do broccolini or green beans and shallots, which shallots, when you cook them, you saute them down and then you blanch the broccolini and green beans ahead of time. So like you're just basically, sauteing them down and the shallots get crispy and it tastes kind of like bacon. That is another crowd pleaser. And I also love doing honey nut squash or butternut squash and red onion. So a lot of these things like the salads can be kind of made a little bit ahead of time. So when people are coming, you can just pull these together. You can roast the honey nut squash and red onion ahead of time and just reheat it right before you're going to eat. The green beans and shallots, you're literally making like 12 minutes before you're serving dinner. So these can be made on the stove. So it just makes it easier as you're trying to be in the flow with the family too. And they're just healthy. I mean, they're veggies and you're adding color to the table and they're all whole food ingredients. And I'm using olive oil, like I'm not using the seed oils and things like that. And they're all things that are seasonal this time of year, which I love too, because I love supporting the farmers market. So you're also serving something that is really nourishing because it's seasonal and your body knows what to do with that this time of year. Yeah.
Definitely. And to your point, when you get those quality ingredients, everything tastes so much better. So shop at the farmer's market if you can. And it sounds like you're the one adding green to the table in your house. That's often me too. And I love that you're talking about things that you can do in advance because I always have to do that on the holidays. I still have little kids. So not only am I hosting family and trying to be the main person in the kitchen, but also I'm Santa Claus and all the other things. And anything I can do in advance is such a huge boon. So, in that vein, I also wanted to ask, okay, let's pick the woman who has all those titles as well. And 20 minutes to pull something together and throw on the table. Do you have a super fast dish that can be pulled together and be beautiful and appealing?
Honestly, so I am not the 30-minute meal like Rachel Ray, right? Like I've given up on that. But if you meal prep things, you can definitely pull together something in under 30 minutes. Like the Asian chicken salad that you talked about. People are like, what can I serve for a dinner party that, I don't have to be in the kitchen? I'm like, Asian chicken salad. You pre-roast the chicken breasts and shred them. Boom, done. You get the lettuce washed and put away. So all you have to do is chiffonade it before the people come and like all the different components of it. You toast the almonds beforehand. You make that Asian dressing beforehand. So when it comes to serving everyone, you're just putting everything in a big bowl, serving it with the rustic crackers or whatever you want to serve it with. But even like a lot of my other recipes, if you make some of the components ahead of time, you're just pulling them together. So meal prep dressings, sauces. Sometimes you can meal prep your proteins in advance. The tofu bowl you were talking about, that can be done because the tofu, you can marinate that in the fridge for a bunch of hours. And then you're just sauteing it, cooking the soba noodles, and you've already had the dressing made and it comes together in no time.
It sounds so easy when you talk about it, but But here's the deal. I'm not the best at meal prep. It's like Sunday comes and I'm looking around like, who has time on Sunday? Maybe it's because I still have little kids and that's my time to spend with them and they fully expect my attention. So I cannot be in the kitchen cooking proteins for 3 hours. But to your point, when I can do that, even the little things like your buckwheat porridge, for example, I can soak some buckwheat groats on Sunday night and pull it together and cook it Monday morning and have it ready for the rest of the week. And I've been doing that for the last couple of weeks and it's the best breakfast. So even if you're like me and you feel like, oh my God, if someone tells me to meal prep again, I'm going to be annoyed. Pick the littlest things, like maybe just make the dressing in advance and even that helps. Or with your salad that you're talking about, I just buy the roasted chicken from the store and cut it up. So that's one less step for me to have to do.
Those are all the hacks. And the other thing I was going to say is it doesn't have to be Sunday. So I meal prepped today. I didn't have time on Sunday. We were running around. So if you are sometimes working from home, you can throw in like the sweet potatoes, like while you're like right now, things could be cooking while you're on this call, like that kind of thing. So I really plan out my day and throw it in. Oh, I can throw some chicken to roast in the oven right now because I've got an hour and I'm just like doing laundry or I'm editing a video or something like that. So again, if you're working in corporate America, it's a little bit harder. But if you are working from home, you have a more flexible schedule. When the kid's napping, you can do some of this stuff. So that's all I mean by meal prepping. Doesn't have to be like make it all in one big sitting, but even meal prepping, like, hey, if you're going to make something for dinner, make a little bit extra chicken. And when I go to the grocery store, I make sure if I'm getting kale or greens, right when I get home, I make sure I wash and destem them, or you can buy the freaking bins with it. You can find the hacks, but there are some things you can do in advance that just make it easier. So you're not doing it all in that 30-minute window.
Right. And it doesn't have to be all or nothing, which I can fall into that trap of thinking too. But okay, do you have tips for how to make prepped food actually taste good when it's time to eat it? Because I feel like if I roast the sweet potatoes in advance for my Mexi sweet potato bowls that I'm making for dinner tonight, they don't taste as good no matter what I do to reheat them. So how do you reheat this food and have it actually taste as good as it did when you originally cooked it?
I use my skillet. So I use my cast iron skillet. I'm known for fridge foraging my lunch. Like I meal prep like bison or ground chicken at the beginning of the week and I saute everything up. So you can take a cast iron skillet and I always have broccolini in the fridge or I have, kale or whatever. And I quickly cook those like fresh. They cook under 5 minutes in the skillet. And then I'll add the sweet potatoes to the skillet. So you just put a little bit of like avocado oil, coconut oil, whatever you want. And then you just warm them up in the skillet. They may not taste as good as they did, but they still, to me, I think they taste amazing. So that's what I do, but I don't throw them in the microwave. I feel like the skillet can do it really well. And then when you're adding a little bit more of the oil, it takes some of the dryness out of them.
Okay, good tip. All right, we're going to wrap up. Do you have any other tips that you want to leave us with or anything that I should have asked you that I didn't?
If people want to make one step in their health journey, like if there's one thing they want to start changing to be like, what can I do today to feel healthier? Is to start really reading the ingredients that you're bringing from the grocery store, to really look at like what's in the meal that you're picking, the mayonnaise, or, when people get coconut milk, they look at the back of it and say, does it have gums? Look at the almond milk or alternative milks you're drinking and try and find the cleanest of ingredients. If you see something on there that you don't know what that is, put that back. I think that if people could start maybe trying 1 or 2 meals home cooked a week just to see how that feels, I think meal prepping helps because then you have things stocked in your fridge. And if you could start cutting back on the ultra processed foods, that is going to take care of so many of the health issues that we have because it all starts at home. We go to the doctors, they treat the symptoms, but we can start by healing ourselves at home by trying to eat more whole food.
It's so true. And I'm so glad that's your tip because that has completely changed my life. I've identified a few ingredients that I had never heard of before, but were in things that I was consuming daily and was getting daily stomach upset that is now completely eradicated just because I removed that one ingredient and actually started paying attention to the ingredient lists when I was buying packaged foods. So that is a huge needle mover when it comes to feeling better. And to your point, you won't have to go to the doctor because you won't have the symptoms if you pay attention to what you're putting in your body. Jackie, thank you so much for coming on. Where can everyone find you and find these recipes that you mentioned today?
So I'm on Instagram at Marin Mama Cooks, and also I have a website, marinmamacooks.com. and you can find all my recipes on there, and they're categorized by vegan, gluten-free, candida, friendly, kid-friendly, all that good stuff.
Awesome. I'm going to make that kale salad. Thank you. So fun chatting with you today.
Thank you.
Okay, my friend, here are 3 quick takeaways to keep in your back pocket when the season starts to feel a little overbearing. Number 1, protect your peace and your plate. Eat what makes you feel good. Say no when you want to and let go of the guilt because guilt is the real energy drain. Number 2, set yourself up to win. A blood sugar friendly snack before the party, a mocktail in hand, or one dish you actually want to eat can totally change the whole experience. And number 3, color equals nourishment. Jackie's kale salads, roasted veggies, and crispy shallots, they're more than pretty. They're easy ways to bring vibrancy, fiber, a midlife girl's best friend, and joy to your holiday table. Please share this episode with a friend who could use a little holiday pep talk, and make sure you're following the show so next week's episode drops right into your feed. I'll see you then.